The life story of Oba Ewuare the Great. A prince is born. Long ago, in the mighty Benin kingdom, a baby boy was born into the royal palace. His name was Ogun. He was the son of a king, yet his life was not as easy as one might think. The palace was a place of beauty, filled with carvings, music, and the laughter of servants. But behind those walls there was also fear, whispers, and struggles. Brothers and uncles quarreled over the throne. Every prince dreamed of wearing the crown, and every chief had his favorite candidates. Young Ogun grew up watching all this. He was brave, strong, and clever. He learned the ways of the warriors and the wisdom of the priests. But many elders looked at him and said, "This boy will never be king. His destiny is too far away." Ogun did not argue. Deep inside, he believed that fate had a plan for him. The fall and the exile. When Ogun grew older, the quarrels over the throne turned into war. His brother, Oba Ewuare, wanted the crown, and the chiefs supported him. Ogun fought bravely, but he was defeated. The palace doors were closed against him. His royal robes were torn. And so, Prince Ogun walked out of Benin, carrying nothing but courage in his heart. The people whispered, "He is finished. He will never return." But Ogun did not see exile as an end. He saw it as a school, the journey of learning. For many years Ogun wandered far from home. He crossed rivers, walked through thick forests, and visited villages and towns. In each place, he learned something new. From hunters, he learned how to move silently and track his enemies. From priests, he learned sacred chants, the power of charms, and the wisdom of the spirits. From warriors, he learned strategy, how to fight in groups, and how to lead men with courage. There are stories told that Ogun met powerful medicine men who gave him charms of protection, and that he spent nights alone in the forest, speaking to spirits of the land. By the time he returned, he was no longer the young prince who had been chased away. He had become a leader, wise and strong, ready for destiny. The return of a prince. Back in Benin, things were not well. His brother Oba Ewuare was king, but the kingdom was troubled. There was no peace. Chiefs quarreled. The people suffered. Thieves and rebels caused fear in the land. When Ogun heard this, he said to himself, "The gods have tested me. Now it is time to return." He gathered loyal friends, men who still believed in him, and together they marched back to Benin. The people saw him and whispered, "Ogun has returned. Ogun has returned." A great battle followed. Fires burned, walls cracked, and many lives were lost. But Ogun's courage and wisdom led him to victory. At last he entered the palace. And there, in front of chiefs and nobles, he declared, "From this day, I am no longer Ogun. I am Ewuare, the bringer of peace after chaos." The chiefs bowed. The people rejoiced. A new age had begun. Rebuilding the kingdom. When Ewuare looked at his city, he was saddened. The once great Benin was broken. Houses lay in ruins, and the palace was scarred by war. He did not waste time. He called his builders and warriors and said, "Let us rebuild not only the palace but the whole kingdom. Let us make Benin greater than before." They built high walls and deep moats that made the city safe. They raised gates that controlled who could enter and leave. They rebuilt the palace with shining courtyards, where chiefs could meet and festivals could be held. But Ewuare also rebuilt the laws. He told the chiefs, "From now on, the Oba is supreme. Chiefs must serve the throne, not fight it." He made new rules of succession so that when a king died, the next in line was clear. No more endless wars between brothers. No more bloodshed for the throne. Order returned to Benin, the king who loved the arts. Ewuare was not only a warrior. He loved beauty, wisdom, and culture. He called the finest craftsmen to his palace. He said, "You shall form guilds. Each guild will master one craft and your work will serve the kingdom." From this came the famous bronze casters, whose works still amaze the world today. They carved history into metal, faces of kings, battles, ceremonies, and spirits. Ivory carvers created figures of beauty. Woodworkers shaped masks and tools. Coral workers designed crowns, necklaces, and royal garments. Ewuare himself dressed in coral beads, scarlet cloth, and royal ornaments. These became symbols of sacred kingship, still worn by Edo royalty today. But perhaps his greatest gift was the Eid festival. This was not just a festival of joy. It was a sacred time of renewal, purification, and thanksgiving to the gods. Even today, centuries later, the Ig festival is still celebrated by the Edo people. The expanding kingdom, Ewuare did not stop with Benin City. He looked beyond its walls and dreamed of an empire. He led his warriors on many campaigns. Some towns fought him and were defeated. Others surrendered peacefully and offered tribute. In both cases, they became part of Benin. He allowed some local rulers to stay, but only if they swore loyalty to him. In other places, he appointed his own chiefs to govern. Soon, the Benin kingdom stretched far and wide, reaching many lands. Traders came from distant places, bringing cloth, coral, salt, and other goods. Foreign visitors looked at Benin and marveled at its greatness. Life in his time, life under Ewuare was rich and organized. Farmers worked the land, growing yam, cassava, and crops for the kingdom. Hunters brought meat. Fishermen brought fresh catch from the rivers. Warriors trained daily, protecting the land. Priests performed rituals to honor the gods. Artisans in guilds created treasures for the palace. Religion guided the people's hearts. They prayed to Olokun, spirit of the sea and wealth, to Ogun, god of war and iron, and to many other deities. The Oba himself was seen as divine, a living bridge between heaven and earth. Benin shone like a jewel of Africa. Challenges of a great king. But even the greatest king faces challenges. Some chiefs did not like losing power to the Oba. They whispered in secret, plotting against him. Some faraway lands resisted his rule. Messages took days, even weeks, to reach those regions. Yet Ewuare stood firm. With wisdom, diplomacy, and strength, he overcame these trials. His reign held the kingdom together, even through storms. The end of his reign. Years passed and Ewuare grew old. His reign had been long, full of battles, festivals, and achievements. When he died, the kingdom mourned deeply. Drums beat slowly, priests performed sacred rites, chiefs bowed their heads in respect. He was buried with honor in a sacred place near Benin City. His children and grandchildren ruled after him, following the laws and traditions he had created. His legacy, today, centuries later, the name Ewuare the Great still lives. The moats and walls he built can still be seen in Benin City. The Benin bronzes he inspired are displayed in museums all over the world. The Ig festival is still celebrated with joy and pride. He took a broken kingdom and made it strong. He gave the people order, beauty, and power. He gave the world a story of leadership that will never be forgotten. Sparkle's moral of the story. True greatness is not only in battle, but in peace. Oba Ewuare showed that a leader must be strong, wise, and fair. He must rebuild, protect, and leave behind a legacy that inspires generations. That is why history remembers him not just as a king, but as Ewuare the Great, the shining Oba of Benin.